On this episode of the Upland Property Xperts podcast, I'm going to try and walk ThankMeLater off the cliff from his Totem madness.
Good luck.
And we got the first quarter of roadmap out for 2024, so we'll touch on that. We do have Mass Chef and Shackleton with us to help talk a little more totems. You don't want to miss this, and hopefully TML doesn't completely lose it.
Hey, there is some quality.
The UPX Podcast with the property expert. If it's happening in Upland, it's the place you want to check first. With your host who's stupid to win and thank me later. Bringing the strategy, news, and cool charts with all the data. This is Upland, where the metaverse goes down. Genesis, San Fran, to Rio, and all around. Don't miss a week, you never know what they'll say next. It's the Upland Property Experts, baby, UPX.
Yeah, that was my fault. That was too. I pushed the video button and I couldn't go back from it. Like I didn't know you were going to speak. I already hit the video to go, and it was just too late. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to input. There was a quality of life improvement that came out as well. That is worth noting. Actually, I don't know
absolutely.
If you've seen it, if you're on top of it or not.
Yes. So the quality of life update was in the property search. We've been asking for that for
finally
4 years. But it's here.
It's like putting a little bit of sprinkles on the turd that was this week in Upland.
Oh, it was not a turd. Come on now. Well,
I'm mad.
I know you're mad, and we'll get into it once we get here. But yeah, I hope the quality of life update gets kind of rolled over to some other parts that definitely need filters in the game, because this is absolutely. Okay, this is a very few people's problems in the game, but this is my problem currently. When I go to look for my totems, they're all the way at the bottom of the map asset screen.
Yeah. Yep.
And it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. And I finally get to my totems. You click on a totem, and then you go back, and it starts all the way at the top. It would be nice if the totems were at the top.
I think that's your hint to just not use your totems. I think that's Upland's way of saying it's not worth using your totems.
That is not their way of saying don't use your totems. Save all your totem stuff for once we get to the totems.
I'm going to sprinkle totem stuff throughout here randomly without any explanation or understanding, and just hope that you can follow. Because that's what Upland does.
No, stop. We're not getting into that just yet. Save all your hate and discontent for later. Save all your hate and discontent for later.
Sorry, I was waiting for an optimal feed cycle to enter in the conversation. I couldn't figure it out.
Stop.
We're talking about now?
Stop. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, just click on the totems from the map view, obviously. There you go. Swirly, don't you?
You see, thanks, Swirly. There you go. I just got to get them all together now. They're all over.
I don't even know where mine are. I don't even think mine are wherever. I don't even think I moved them from wherever they minted from.
Yeah. So, yep, quality of life came. That was nice. That's been a long time coming.
Oh, you mean the thing that should have been in like the second month the game came out?
Jeez. You're just...
Yeah, I'm mad about these Odoms. I'm not Odom Tays. What have I use the code Odom Tays.
All right. So first off, let's talk about the roadmap.
Oh, the roadmap.
The roadmap for quarter one.
Odom Tays on the roadmap?
At the end, but we're not jumping into that part. Oh, the quarter one update was talked about. One of the things that they were discussing is they've integrated MetaMask. You can use Ethereum to buy UPX now. They're looking to expand that, being able to use that to buy the different bundles, block explorers, different packages Upland offers. That's what they're looking to expand to. And they've also talked about other ERC20 tokens with the potential. They didn't name any, but they're exploring the possibilities of that. Do you see any impact? Are you excited? I mean, I know you're not that big of a crypto person, but
I mean, do we think that they'll ever extend this to meta ventures where I can sell my block explorers for Ethereum in my shop?
I wouldn't see why not as they continue to develop it.
That could be kind of cool, like an alternative, like a crypto out would be an interesting. Again, I'm not a crypto person, so I would stick to either UPX or fiat personally, but I can see that being a huge draw because, like, again, sure, it's an opportunity to bring crypto money in, right, through like UPX sales, whatever. But as an end user, as a player, I mean, maybe if they attract more users, I feel like if you're in the crypto space and you're in the crypto NFT space, you know about Upland by now. Like, that's not a huge ecosystem, and Upland's been around long. Crypto out would be a major draw for sure. Well, and it's just like crypto, people who are in the crypto world, they kind of play with crypto like it's nothing inside of their little bubbles, right? Like I see that stuff in like OpenSea and where, people are trading at outrageous prices because to them it's just a couple of Ethereum here and there, but it's thousands of dollars. But to them it's just all fake digital currency, really, in a way. So being able to have that access as a gamer, as a player, would be huge. I don't know that they're going to attract much more users from that. Maybe there are some players, because you could always buy UPX with crypto, right?
Right.
So I don't really know. Maybe again, I'm excited for the potential of connecting my, like, a MetaMask account to be able to do player to player kind of crypto transactions through meta ventures, but you could always buy UPX with crypto.
One of the things to think about too is Gala Games and Vox is connected through MetaMask. Vox has a partnership with Upland. They're building their Jenga building there in New York's. That could have some.
Die. What happened? Gala? Didn't something bad happen to Gala Games?
Yeah, there was a feuding between the founders and there's stuff going on, but there's still projects going on, and yep. And
players in countries where PayPal is restricted, crypto could be huge. Yeah, that's very true. I will say that is one nice thing about our founders in Upland. Dirk and Edon seem like they're buddies, which is good.
Yes.
I don't see them squabbling about petty stuff. Like, they both seem pretty headstrong and like both moving in the same direction. So I'm glad that we don't have to worry about like the Gala game situation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I hope Vox here is good. I know Daddy D bought into those Vox things.
Yes.
India especially. Yeah.
Yep. And they have Dizzy's really involved with Gala. Mixplex really involved with Gala.
I was gonna say Mix was heavy. Yeah.
And I know Dizzy has a bunch of different Vox things also. That would be good, being able to bring it through into Upland at some point in time that way. So that was the big news there with MetaMask and where they were rolling there. As you said, they rolled out the quality of life thing with the searchable for the property, which was nice. And then I'm going to bring Mass Chef on here. They started talking about a little updates on racing. So who does it impact most? The Upland Racing League. So none other than we have Mass Chef with us. How we doing, brother?
What's going on, guys? How you doing tonight?
What up, brother?
So when you heard about, let's hear. So they talked about being able to, they're bringing the qualifying races back. They discussed about turning improvements, and they talked about the ability to scope your races.
Define the race scope. I think that's honestly, out of all the things that they discussed, I think that for me is the biggest one. I think that is super important, especially for economy purposes. So you don't have somebody with an S4 getting whacked on every time they go to a public race because everybody else is racing, you know, stock car pros or S1Rs or whatever, and not really making it, because I think without that right now they've kind of killed racing because you don't have that, and so there's not a whole lot of public racing going on. It's all done through the private servers and so on. So I think, to me, that's probably the biggest announcement that they made that I was looking forward to.
It sounds like there were some frustrated metaventure track owners because of that, because
Yep.
nobody wanted to race.
Yep.
And if nobody's racing, none of the metaventures are making money.
Well, and it forces you to do things to try to promote your track, or hold events on your track. We're doing the King of the Castle run right now, and that was strictly to bring attention to the track that I own, and try to bring some UPX into that track, into that metaventure. So I do think that kind of it certainly was affecting my scope of the business anyway.
Yeah. And then it's just always exciting when they make improvements on your ability to control the car. And they talked about being able to turn a little better, which has been a challenge in some of the races. And if you get booted from the race, that's happened before during a race, you can actually reload and jump back in.
Reload and jump back in. I was pretty excited to hear that too. I'm hoping that one comes sooner rather than later, because that is a huge problem. Because that also deters people from racing for stakes. You're not going to put any UPX in it if you're going to get booted and not be able to get back in. Because once you're booted, you can't control your car. You don't know what it's doing. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I hope that one comes sooner than later.
And then one of the things they talked about exploring was making the racing code open source for developers.
Yeah.
They didn't say that's 100%, but it's something they were exploring.
Well, and I think they've already, from what I understood from the conversation, is they've already had some testing of that on their end. And I think that'll be cool, because that brings back memories of the Creedmoor race that we had 2 years ago, with TML and the team, and doing the layer 2, and I think that's going to bring a lot more into that, and I think we'll see a lot of really cool things happen with that part of it, which again, brings attention to the track owners, brings attention, much needed attention to racing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Absolutely. And it sounds like a lot of that's rolling out in Q1, the scope of the race, the turning improvements, and the qualifying races.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, from what I got, that was all pretty much coming.
When block
Q1.
explorers drivers, that's what.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that to me is going to be very exciting.
Years of promising block explorers driving skills. Come on now,
getting skills, skill set. I think that's going to be awesome. And I don't know how what the level is of the ladder that falls on, but I think it should fall closer to the top than what it is. But hey, it is Upland, and we're gonna soon. It'll be soon. Trademark
awesome.
of Upland.
It'll be soon. It'll be Upland soon, eh? Hey, that would be one way for them to win me back over after this Odom nonsense.
Oh God,
we're not there.
I didn't
We are not
say it.
Almost there. We're almost there.
We're almost there.
I tell you one thing that he did talk about too, right before they started talking about racing, was the which I thought was really cool, was the temporary cars for the new Uplanders, and as they come in, to get to experience racing and get to have some ability to get in there and try that stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. It was a pretty neat idea. Even if you only get it for a temporary time, at least get in there and get the feel for the mechanics and how to race, and that sort of stuff, and not have to worry about trying to spend UPX to get yourself a car or whatever. So I thought that was a pretty neat idea, and try to get people introduced to that earlier into the game set, rather than them trying to stumble on it through a community event or whatever.
Absolutely. And with some of their
I think that's where, like, renting my car, like, I should be able to rent. There you go. You pay 20 UPX and you can race with one of my SR1s.
Yeah. I think that's something that could potentially be down the road at some point. Who knows? But I think that would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. Again, I mean, we talked about it from a layer 2 perspective of, again,
Yep.
making it, playable like an arcade style, where, again, you don't have to have the SR1 to be able to race with an SR1. But then the SR1 owners, I got to feed my goat. Nope, spoiler, you fed it at an inoptimal time that no one told you about, and now your goat is dead. Good luck. You get no Totem. Go back to go. Do not collect $100.
Hey,
let's hear in chat. If you've had an enjoyable Totem experience and it hasn't felt like a proctored exam of your prostate, please let us know in the comments.
What about the people that don't have prostates?
Right?
Well, you wouldn't know because they blindfolded you, so they're just going to poke around with a couple fingers anyway. Whether you have one or not.
Wow.
All right, Bass. Thank you for giving us that. Upland Racing League, when's the new season starting?
So we're still working out schedule. So it's probably right now my best estimation is going to be the second week of February. We are running a little bit behind on the start of the season to my liking, but there's some unfortunate real life incidents that take place and don't really have much choice. So we're hoping to have everything ready to go by the second Friday in February.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
Very excited. We have a lot of racers out there that are coming to us that are ready to race. So we're very happy to see that. We do have some of the spots already full, of course, with previous season champions and so on. So we do have, I believe, 8 spots available or something like that, maybe even more.
What's for what class?
So this is stock car competition trim series that we're running. So roughly comparable to an S1E would be my best comparison. Actually, a little.
Yeah. So if you have a stock car, so that way we can tell the people.
Yeah, for sure. If you have a stock car competition series, you're interested in getting into the URL and racing for some massive prizes. I'm telling you, you can make a lot of UPX racing in the URL. So stock car competition series trim. You want to come and race, go up against some of the bad boys, then hook us up in Discord and let us know, and we'll give you the role, and you'll get all the announcements as they come.
Yeah, absolutely excited to partner with you guys, be the official sponsor, and have you guys on every week to talk racing.
Yeah, very excited for it. And again, we thank all of our sponsors, and we definitely thank you guys for coming on as our first corporate sponsor. It's we're so happy about it. We're so happy about the partnership, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mass, I'm going to bring you back on when we get into the Totem discussion.
Rock on. Can't wait. This is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
I got 99 Totem, and a correct feeding schedule isn't one.
All right. Nice reference. Some of the other things that were talked about in the Q1 roadmap was MetaVenture changes. They're going to bring cafes in. Some of the things that they mentioned there was item sales or subscription based. I'm going to be intrigued to see how they make MetaVenture cafes. Yeah, with subscriptions. Well, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then they talked about map assets, a sandbox for map assets. You can put it on a map and see it before submitting to make sure that it fits right,
Oh,
to
that's
help
good.
to help streamline some of the issues that they end up seeing on the end that could probably be identified ahead of time. And finally, for the people that have been NFLPA waiting for the replicas, they said that Q1 you'll be able to burn essentials and make replicas. We'll see how that goes.
It only took, oh man, I had a good sports ball reference. Who was the Patriots coach?
Bill Belichick.
It only took Belichick leaving for them to actually do something with replica. I don't know.
What's that got to do?
I don't know. It's a sports ball thing, I suppose.
A sports ball thing. Awesome. And then they said that there's probably going to be another developer challenge in Q1.
Sure.
All right. After all that nonsense, we'll go ahead and Totem.
Oh! I'm done talking about it. I don't want to talk about it.
No, you're not. You're not. So finally, we started the feed this week on Tuesday, and probably 3 hours in, 2 to 3 hours in, you completely lost your mind in the text thread.
Yeah. Okay. I don't even know where to start with my amount of frustration that I have with this thing. First of all, okay, they give us 555 Protem per
totem. Yep.
Per totem. They give us no instructions, no guidelines, no nothing.
That's right up your alley. That's gamification.
No, that's absolutely not gamification. I mean, it is a type of gamification, but no, I would never play a game like it'd be like playing Monopoly without knowing how much a property costs, how much rent is. You just have to guess. And if you guess wrong, you go to jail. Or like it makes no sense. First of all, if you had like one or two things that you had to like figure out, maybe you have like 5 effing properties across 20 different parameters that no one has any idea about. You have no baseline to even know what they're feeding these things. So people are feeding them initially anywhere between like 1 protem and 300 to 500 protem because you gave us 500 per, which I assumed was the starting amount because you have no baseline to understand what we're. I'm going to try. It's going to be hard for me to not drop F-bombs during this because I am so pissed off because it was so poorly done. And if there wasn't a massive community all wasting tons of protem, just randomly guessing at what to do, it would be useless. If you weren't connected with one of the communities, you will quit this game. You should not build a game that you have to have 100 people scrolling through data to be able to figure out how to play it. That's not gamification. It's stupid and it's annoying and it's not fun at all. Like I lost so much protem and I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it anymore. It's absolutely a waste to me because you didn't give me any information. I have no idea what the benefit is to me. I'm not doing it. I'm pissed.
So we've talked for months that this first cycle, we were going to have to figure it out. And you said, yeah, it's going to, I wish I had a montage.
No. But figure it out in the sense of like, okay, I have to feed it, 10 every 4 hours. And then I got to collect it every 6. And then I'm going to coordinate with these. And then, okay, here's my optimal, like figure it out as in like coordinate when I'm going to do the feedings, because even just imagine you have 12 and you have 6 different feeding cycles. Just coordinating that effort would be a feat in and of itself. But now you have to blindly guess when you're supposed to feed these effing things. Are you kidding me? That's so insane and stupid. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Like,
I've been doing this.
Absolutely not. No.
I've been doing this show with you for almost 4 years. If Upland came out and said, all right, if you have this style totem, you feed it this much and collect, you're going to say, that's dumb. That's not gamification.
No,
that's
that
cookbook.
Is gamification. What are you
You would have said it was cookbook and you would have been mad the other way around.
Every effing game I play, that is exactly what it is. You go, here's your max capacity. And oh, by the way, so once it's fully like, you have to put in 10. And then after 3 hours, it produces this amount, and it has a capacity of 3. So you have to collect it every 2 hours, but you feed it every 5 hours. So then you have to figure out, okay, well, what's the optimal thing? And then here's like, give me all the information. Every effing game I play that I have to micromanage, they give you everything you need. It's still a pain in the ass because you still have to figure it out. But now imagine doing it blind. Are you kidding me? And then again, I have no basis. I fed my first totem 300 protum, and the next day it gave me 0.9. F that. F that in the face. I am done with it. I am so pissed off. It's so stupid.
So why would you give it 300 totem? I mean, why would you give it 300 protum?
Well, because they gave me 550. So I was like, well, I'm not going to give it all 500. Like, so I'll put 300 on it. Let's see. And then it was just like, you gave it too much. And so I gave the next one 200. And it's like, you gave it too much. And then I gave it 100. And it's like, you gave it too much. And I'm like, how much are you supposed to give it? Oh, you're supposed to give it like 50? How would I know that? And some of them like are still less than that.
You could have. I had a spreadsheet. I was going to talk to you about it, but you kind of blew me off there. I figured 555 for 30 days. That's 18.5.
But you're getting
middle of the road.
The whole point is you feed it and then it poops crap out. So the idea would be like you give it 500 and then you collect 510, and then you give it 500 and you get 510. And by the but they didn't even give us any fucking thing.
But why do you think they're doing 5 cycles? If they just wanted to say here, feed it here, here, and here, it's fun.
No. Wait, what? Well, because you need because again, if it's the feeding curve, so it's like the first time you feed it, maybe you give it, and again, they didn't give us any information. So I have no idea. So like, do you give it 500 and then you get 510 the first time you feed it? And then the next time you give it 510 and then you get 515 and then you give it 5. Like, I have no idea. And how would anybody know? Yeah, 550 to last. How would you know that? You're supposed to feed it and then collect it. I thought that was the initial input. I would not be surprised if somebody went in and gave it 555, because if I had one totem and they gave me 555 protum, I would assume that's how much I have to feed that stupid thing. Why else would you give me that amount to start with? Like, it doesn't say, hey, this is your month of food. Good luck. It's here's your starting protum that starts the whole thing. Like, they didn't give us a fucking scale. Like, I'm so pissed. Like, it's so dumb.
So would you have wanted parameters of, if you have this style of input, then here's your range, here's your feeding range, here's your amount can take?
I want the exact, and I want it on my thing. I want it to say you have to feed it optimal feeding. Like, you should be feeding this thing X amount, and here's how much, and it has this amount of capacity, and these are your feeding cycles. Like, give me the information I need to manage this thing. Imagine getting a puppy and they're like, well, we're not going to tell you how much to feed it or when to feed it. Here's 200 cans of food. And you're like, I guess I give all of it now? I don't know. And then the puppy dies because you're like, well, no one gave me instructions on how to feed this stupid thing. Like, are you insane? Like,
so you're a person that would overfeed their dog instead of starting out with little. I mean,
or I would starve to death. I'd be like, well, what do I do? Give it one spoonful? Like, and even that. So imagine they give you 10 cans. Okay, 10 cans for how long? How long does that last? Do I give it one scoop of food at a time? Do I have to feed it 3 times a day? Do I feed it once a day? I have no idea. Like,
we talked about that last week, that it's 0 to 50 hours and you figure you divide it by 7 and that would be your increments based on, like we talked about it last week.
But again, the idea would be that they tell you that. And the variation is the variation of your statues. So like, again, you have 6 variations. So again, trying to figure out if you have 12 statues, how do you match up a 7-hour cycle, a 4-hour cycle, a 3.5-hour cycle, a 10-hour cycle? Okay, now I have to sit here and map all that out. And when are my optimal feedings and how often do I have to log in? And then, okay, I'm going to trade you. Hey, I have a bunch of 7-hour cycles. Why don't we trade those? Oh, but then the capacity is actually smaller than the production cycle. So if I don't collect it every 2 hours, then it's going to be max cap and I'm going to lose Protem. So I have to collect it more often. Like there's so much gamification inside the parameters that they created, but not giving the players any information, just hoping we guess it. And again, like there are mass amounts of people trying to figure it out and wasting incredible amounts of Protem. Like it would be incredibly infuriating. And it is incredibly infuriating, even being connected to some of the best, smartest people in this community. Like I cannot imagine trying to go in on this on your own. And you shouldn't build a game that you can't play by yourself. Like I shouldn't have to have 300 other people doing data mining to figure out how to play your game. That isn't a fun game. Like, it's just infuriating. Like, they gave us no guidance. They weren't like, hey, the range for your feeding is between 10 on the smallest side and 100 on the upper side. Like, at least then you could go, and it's based off of this property. So I know, hey, if I'm on the lower end of that property, I know it's 10. And if I'm on the higher end, I know I'm 100. Whatever it is. Like, it's insane. It's so like infuriating. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun.
So you don't like challenges?
Sure. I don't like challenges.
It's the first cycle, and they're going to come out and they're learning from it.
They're going to tweak it, but not tell us. They're going to be like, well, we heard your feedback, so we tweaked all the parameters. Good luck on cycle 2. Like,
I don't think they do that. Maybe since there's been frustration on Discord, on Twitter, all the different groups, you know, and maybe they'll give us a little more guidance with the second cycle. And actually, they're not selling Protem. They're actually selling UPX, just like the Block Explorers, all that. You get the UPX.
Yeah. By the way, you want to know how to win the Totem game? Just go buy free Protem from the store and don't use it and sit on it.
I don't think so. I think that and we're only into day 3. We started on Tuesday the 9th. Right now it's Thursday the 11th. So we had Tuesday from noon. So it's been going on for 48 hours. We're into day 3 of it.
I feel like I've been living this nightmare for 3 years. I might get my first gray hair because of this nonsense.
You've had gray hair before that. But how do you know that, you know, on day 8 that your output really spikes?
Who knows?
You don't know.
I'm going to run out of Protem because I don't know how much to feed the damn things. Like, no, I don't. Bring on some other people.
All right, we'll bring on some other people. I wanted to give you your rant, but I really just wish I had the mashup because for months we've talked about it and said
in no way, shape, or form have I ever said, "Oh, I can't wait to have to figure out what all the parameters of my thing are." I'm literally.
What do you think I said when I said we're going to have to figure this out?
You're going to have to figure out how to coordinate it all. Like how many times I said once they release the numbers, once they give us the numbers, once we have the numbers, like that's what I've said 1,000 times. Like the reason I'm not buying more totems is because they haven't released the numbers. Like, and spoiler, they were just going to blue balls us on the numbers and just never give it to us.
All right. With that, we'll bring on Shacklid and Mass Chef. How's your totem experience going?
Wow. Better than that.
Shaq, you're muted.
Hi, everyone.
Get out of here, Hyde Park Ninjas. You're fired. Hyde Park Ninjas, fired.
Yes, Happy Jack. I'm waiting for a 40-hour blue myself. Now, so, all right. So, Jack, what are your thoughts so far?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
It's really hard. I'm loving it. I have so many spreadsheets. I've spent the last 2 days almost nonstop making spreadsheets. I love the community coming together and working together and brainstorming, figuring this thing out. I have made great progress. actually figured out about what each of my totems needs to eat and about how often. And I'm watching the spend score on most of the totems. I'm watching the spend score start creeping up, and I'm watching the rewards increase. And I'm really excited to see how the rest of the curve plays out through the month. But I will say I'm sleep deprived. My husband isn't liking it a whole lot. My alarm went off at 3:30 a.m. It woke him up.
Oh no.
And I
Did it wake you up?
Fed my 3 orange totems, and he had to be at work later. So I'm not sure how we're going to work through the marriage for the rest of the month in the next 5 months. So it's going to be tough, right, honey?
Fucking totems.
Yeah. Yeah. I have totems.
All right. What about you, Mass?
So I'm probably in the middle of those experiences. I'm not having a great time with it, but I'm not having a horrible time with it. I'm a spreadsheet kind of guy. So I like the spreadsheets. I like doing them. I like trying to figure things out. It's kind of like this big giant puzzle. The mistake that I made was starting 16 of them at the same time, kind of like Shaq starting 12 at the same time. I think in hindsight, I'd have maybe started 2 or 3 till I figured it out instead of trying to figure it out with 16 of them all the same. But it's an interesting thing. And one thing I will say is that I noticed that the biggest thing that I'm hearing from the community right now in all of the discords and all the social media and so forth is that everybody's spending more than they're getting. And one thing that I've been trying to get the message out that you are going to spend more than you get for the first 6 days. Once you find the optimal feeding time, unless you own a legendary llama, which there's only one of, that is the only totem that I can see that produces more than you spend on it right from the gate. Right, that's the one that's right. It's got a flat line going across. The curve meter thing that they put out. I'm hearing that that's not very accurate, but it should be accurate to some degree. I think. But nothing's going to get earned more than what you spend, at least for the first 6 days on any totem that you have.
Where did that come from? I
So
must have missed that, or is that speculation or something released?
no, so this was released. This was something that was released by Upland. Hang on, let me see if I can find it, and I'll pop it up on the screen for you.
Because I had one of the totems. It was a brown totem, and I screwed it up. I'm pretty bad on its score, so I got to collect about every 2 hours after I feed it, and it tells me that it needs to collect more often now. But none of my other ones have told me to collect more often, so I've been kind of like riding it to see when it tells me to collect more often. I'm playing with it. It's cycle 1. It's just because you're trying to optimize for cycle 5, because I think cycle 4 and 5, cycle 1 and 2, you're trying to figure it out. Cycle 4 and 5, you should have everything dialed in to really earn your protum for the release of STEM.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think at least like the first 2 cycles are going to be a whole lot of hunt and peck and experiment and those sorts of things. Yes, that's it. There's the curve. You found it. Yay!
And this was put out by Upland.
So this was released by Upland. When they first started talking about it, somebody grabbed the screenshot, and I honestly don't know who right off the top of my head, but somebody grabbed this screenshot when they were first started talking about it, and this is about the input versus output curves. So your input line is the dashed line going through the blue dashed line there at the bottom, and your output curves are the little wavy curves for each variation. Now this chart has 11 variations, and I'm not positive that there's 11 variations, but I'm told that this chart is no longer accurate, but I think there's got to be some truth to it, especially in the early days, where if you look 5 days, for the first 5 days right there's not a single totem that's producing really much more than what you're putting into it, or much less than what you're putting into it.
Well, I mean, there's technically 3, it looks like, but
Well, 1, 2, 3. Well, even so, there's none within the first 2 days, really.
what? Oh, there's 3 that straight line significantly above the green, the orange, and the blue.
Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not
But yeah, I don't know
positive
what
that
those
all
are.
of this is accurate anymore. So.
Again, and like the thing is, you don't know what the daily input, like they didn't give us what that number, they didn't even give us a freaking range. Like that's my frustration. Like I wasted hundreds, which means that even if this curve is accurate, I got to feed these stupid things accurately for a month, and I still will be at a net loss for the month. Like,
yeah,
I'm still going to be at a net loss because it was so dumb. Like, if they were going to make us guess, like they should have given us like actual, like some fake stuff to, I don't know. It's nonsense. I'm just like, whatever. The reality is there's less than 5,000 people that have this stuff now. I would be buying it up tomorrow. I'm not going to spend a single protum this entire cycle. If all of a sudden people start to see returns at the end of this, maybe, and I probably won't, because I'm not going to do what Shaktalin's doing. I'm not going to sit here and wake up every 4 hours for this nonsense.
Yeah, well, one thing I will say is, I have no intention of losing sleep over it. If one of them happens to keel over, so be it. There's 15 more right behind it that I've taken care of, so I'm not really that worried about if one takes a keel or not. So I'm not losing sleep over it. That's for damn sure. So I'm not setting my alarms at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But I am intrigued by it.
Now, one of the interesting things, though, is the community discovered is you're able to feed other people's totems. Now, you could work with somebody that, is 12 hours opposite of you, 14 hours opposite of you. So when they sleep, oh, yeah, I'll feed your totem. I'll feed your totem. If you got the same style totem on the same kind of cycle, I'll feed it while you're asleep. And then you use yours to feed mine while I'm asleep. Hey, mine takes 25, mine takes 25, and you can work it that way. And there is that possibility.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think it's sabotage right away. I'm like,
right. That's what I was thinking. You could sabotage somebody pretty easy,
But like, so if you were off on the feeding cycle, like, let's
feed
say
it too often.
Does it die?
So if you, it won't die if you feed it too often, but it won't produce if you feed it too often.
So if I go to somebody's totem and just like every once in a while, just like feed it one, I'm just like giving their little puppy snacks until it dies. I'm going to go just start, here you go. Here's a little treat. I'm going to go do that to all of Shaktalin's so that way she can get some sleep. I'm going to be like, they're all dead, Shaq. I murdered them. Go to sleep. Let your husband sleep. Like, I mean, honestly, like that would be like ridiculous. Because if I went in and just every hour gave somebody's totem one protum, just here you go, boop, boop, boop. And it'd be like, I died, I overfed.
It would tell you you're feeding it too often, and it would mess with their output.
I'd be like, well, guess what? You're gonna feed until you die.
That was the first thing when it was pointed out to me. I'm like, that's not good. Like the first thing was malicious. Just you could screw with people.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end of the cycle. I'm not gonna screw with them now, but wait till they're at that optimal curve, and I'll be like, one protum. Oh, guess what? You get no protum now. Enjoy. You've just wasted a month of your life. Metaventurist is saying not how it works.
Okay. Was it explained? Because it takes the bigger one. as much as we joke. So if I fed 25 and you came along and fed the 1 and it's in that time frame, my 25 takes over. So your 1 doesn't affect it. But
if I gave it 30,
yeah. And then
your
would
feeding score goes down.
True.
I don't know. I don't know how any of it works. No one does, because we're all just blindfolded with sticks up our asses. We have no idea what's happening.
All right.
So understand you're not playing the rest of the month. Are you going to play in cycle 2?
No, probably not. Honestly, it's excruciating. Like, I don't know. It's not fun. It's not fun.
So one of the things we're trying to figure out is there's a couple of totems that Mass Chef and I both have where we're doing everything correctly and not getting any error signals, but our spending score is going down anyway. So that is a curiosity, and we need the community to figure that one out next.
What I've done
I'm not actually going to sabotage. I don't actually care enough to do it. I'm not going to waste. I've already wasted enough Protem nonsense.
What I've done is if I get a success message, my next feed, I'll bump it up 2 or 3 Protem and see what it tells me. I did 5. It was too much. It's like it was too much. And then you work your way down. You also have a range where your successful feed is good, but there's still a range inside that success. You can go up or down, and that's what I'm using the first cycle to do with each feed. I know I'm going to I'm going to decrease my score by doing too much from time to time, but I'm just trying to find my range for each one of my totems of where, and then find the optimum number in that range.
Yeah, so I think the latest one, or the latest theory that I saw was like, for instance, the orange totems, which have to be basically maintained every 3.5 to 4.5 hours or something like that. I think the feed, because everybody says that the optimal time is in the middle of the cycle, right? So the orange totems have roughly a 7-hour cycle, something like that, 7.14 hour cycle, and so your collection should come up at the end of the cycle, and your feed should be in the middle of the cycle. So if you're collecting at 7 hours, you're going to add 3.5 hours to it. You're going to feed at 10.5 hours, then collect again at 17 hours, then feed again at 20 hours. I haven't actually tried that yet, so that's on my next cycle, my next feeding cycle. I'm going to do that and see what happens.
Even if we had all of the information perfectly, right? Even if they gave us all of the numbers,
there's no way you would get it perfect every time.
Which again, that's still that's the gamification. Like, here's all the numbers. Figure out how to make your timings and set alarms and jump through hoops and set your butthole on fire so you don't sleep for the next 6 months. And hopefully you'll get some Protem back. That would at least be manageable. Having all of these factors be blind makes me wonder if Upland even knows what they are. If they're like, we don't really know what they are, maybe the community will figure it out. It was too complicated for our dev team to figure it out. They had AI compute these things, and we couldn't figure it out. So hopefully everybody everybody else will figure it out. That's the only thing I can imagine.
Gosh, when you don't like something, you just jump off that cliff.
Well, they made me do it. I was sitting enjoying the view from the edge, and they're like, hey, here, jump.
You're still, if you would have put 25 down and it was too much, you wouldn't have been as upset. But since you went crazy with no rhyme or reason and slapped 300 up there, then 200, then 100.
There is a rhyme or reason. You gave us 555. I assume that when you feed it, that you will get a significant, you'll get it back. That's the whole idea. You feed it, you get some back. And then I figured, okay, well, I'm not going to give it all of it. So let's start with half of it, 300. How would I know that that's way too goddamn much?
If you're not feeding it now, you're not going to get the maximum output later.
No, it's not. I'm starving all of my totems. They're all going to die. I'm going to let them die. Sorry, dragonfly. Sorry, palm tree. Sorry, whoever else I have. They're all dead.
Wow.
I'll
The
buy them off of
psychological
you for an
experiment?
UPX.
Well, they succeeded. It's a baby. It needs to grow. We're not gonna go there. But
I will buy each one off of you for $1 then.
oh no, they're going in. I'm gonna find a shame graveyard and I'm gonna put them there.
Hey,
Them in a
I got
shame graveyard.
I
With
got
what else?
gravestones for your graveyard. You can buy
Yeah,
from
there
me.
you go.
All right. Hey, Shaq, any final thoughts on the totems?
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a map asset that's like a little banner and it just says shame with an arrow pointing down that's just bigger than the totems. And then I'm going to put and then I'm going to sell them. And then anybody who has a totem that wants to shame their totem, then you can do that. And you can have a little shame statue over your totem to go shame, 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 shame.
Well, for me, I would like to say that I truly believe at this point, until proven otherwise, that this will be rewarding because it's extremely challenging. I love it. I'm going to give it the month and see what happens. And I encourage everyone to keep hoping and keep the hope alive. Because I do. I'm very hopeful. It's
How's
only
your husband feel? How's your husband feel about it?
He absolutely supports me 100%.
He just gave you the middle finger. I don't believe that for a second.
He did not.
So yeah, hang on to the hope.
So you start out with, so the base was 555. How much do you think, if you successfully feed one of your things, I'm going to open a totem cemetery. If you successfully feed one of your totems, how much, let's do some practical numbers. How much totem do you feel like you could have at the end of a cycle from one like successful totem feeding?
Oh, not a clue. I haven't done any math.
Okay. Well, but see, don't you understand? Like that's the problem because okay, let's say, do you think that you're going to double it? You think you're going to get 10x? You think you're going to get a 50% return? Like, what are people like? What's the range that people feel like they're going to get?
That's a great question, actually. I don't know. Math?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know really either. I think if done correctly, you should probably get maybe double of what you put in. But that really is going to depend on what your spend or what your earnings curve turns out to be.
Okay,
But
so let's
I
say,
think double is realistic.
okay, so let's say double. Okay, so that means you're going to get 555 free Protem, which you could buy for $50 and get 50,000 UPX.
Agreed.
I will pay $50 and get 50,000 UPX and my Protem and my sleep.
Well, I agree with that math. And if that's all that the reward turns out to be, then yeah, I think most people would rather just pay $50 and go to bed.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I'm curious, like, what is the number? Like, because if it's a 10x, sure. That feels very rewarding. If
Yeah.
I can turn 500 Protem into 5,000 Protem,
Right.
ooh.
Well, ideally,
Yeah,
in my
but I think I'm sorry, Shaq. I think all of this is speculation, though, right? I mean,
Well,
because
hell,
nobody really knows.
the
So,
golden one shitting 2x every day.
yeah,
if you look at the curve, right, that looks like more than 2x to me. If the curve means anything.
If the curve means anything, it should be more than 2x. It should be probably more like 6x or 7x.
Net. I mean, we'll see. JT, I'm not taking my totem on another dinner date unless I know I'm getting something in return. JT, facts.
I mean,
It'll definitely be an interesting month. Yeah, I think that we're going to need to see much higher returns. And again, the curves speak to the fact that all of a sudden it's going to get wild at the end of the month, the people that are doing this. But again, keep in mind that that's if you've done it optimally, if you've remembered to tickle those dragon balls and that you get the most you can out of it. Because if not, you're in for a sad, sad, sloppy date.
I think we're called to the principal office after this one. Jesus.
I will say that the one negative thing that I take out of this, for me personally, if I were to mention anything negative, the one thing that I take
we don't
negative.
mention anything negative on this show. We're very
No, not at all. Yeah, positive. I got it.
We're
Like
bootlickers. That's the kind. We're bootlickers.
Bootlickers,
I was
right?
told. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the one negative though that I did see that happened was the actual Totem sale. To me, that was a negative because of the fact that there was no real instructions. They talked about it a little bit. They gave some hints here and there. They threw some breadcrumbs occasionally, but there was really no instruction. And because of that, and because there was people like you that didn't understand or didn't really comprehend what was going on, that threw out 300 or 500 or put out ridiculous numbers on these totems right from the gate. I think a Totem sale right after the release was just a cash grab. That's what it felt like. That's what it looked like, and to me, that kind of put the whole thing in a bad light. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the negative.
I think it would have been better if they kind of, as ThankMeLater did say, gave you some sort of guidance of a feeding range to start out. That would have been really helpful. Just saying, hey, this is your start, or this is supposed to get you till your totem starts producing enough to be self-supportive or something. A little more guidance than what was there. I knew it was going to be a struggle going in trying to figure it out, but it's been very interesting as everybody's. What?
Sorry.
Oh, gotcha. It's just interesting all the different ways people are tracking stuff and trying to figure out the most optimum way. And as the first cycle, I'm trying to get as many error messages as possible so I figure out my boundaries.
Why?
Yep.
Why are you wasting it? Let the community do it. Why are you wasting your Totem? Because here's the thing is, I don't care how much you do it, you're not going to find it for all of them. So why are you wasting your time? Let the community.
I only got 5. And each one's a little different.
Each one's unique. You can't figure out the boundaries of your own totem. The
community's not going to do it.
Well, each property has the set of boundaries. Every orange is the same. Every blue is the same. Every tiny has this thing. Every one has, there's 5 attributes that map to these things. So once those attributes are mapped, you just map it to yours and then you figure it out.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, Shaq.
Wait, unless you're telling me that each totem has unique everything and is just randomly mashed together, which then is just.
Do we know for 100% certain that different combinations of traits don't interact differently? Do we know that for sure? I don't.
Oh.
Could it be that each particular animal has certain characteristics that we don't know about? I don't know. I mean, to me, there's a lot of.
I just want to set everything on fire. I was already mad. I was already mad thinking that each property had a stupid thing. Like, what you're telling me that each totem could potentially what? So then what? What? So then So okay, so then when I buy a Protem next cycle, you mean I have to figure all this shit out again? Like just randomly hope that I kind of figure it out before the end of the cycle?
You spend this month figuring out the needs of your totems, and then you coast for the remaining months.
Okay, but what about the people that want to buy, like, okay, hey, I heard about Upland and they have these new totem things. I want to go buy a totem and I'm in cycle 3 or 4. You mean I'm effed? You mean I'm 100% effed because
they'll come and join some Discord servers, talk to the community, and we will give them all the information they need to.
Well, they won't, because each totem's unique. Apparently, like if you're telling me that each combination is unique, and I won't be able to optimize unless I do this insane process for month on month on month.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying all I did was ask a question. What do we know for absolutely certain?
Oh, that Upland hates us. That's all we know.
They don't hate us.
Upland hates fun. That's what we learned from this experiment. Upland hates fun.
Well, I know a lot of people that have just been loving this process because they're data people and they love a good challenge and to solve a puzzle. And I think that's one of the things I love about Upland is that a lot of times we have to get to work and work hard.
No, I don't mind that, except it's costing us money. Like, here's the thing. I love a good puzzle if it's not costing me something. Like, if I can play and enjoy it, but the reality is that you're taking Protem away from me. And that Protem is money. Like, that's currency. We paid $60 per totem minimum. That's an entire video game. Do you realize that? You realize that the people that bought these bought an entire video game. I could go buy Diablo 4 or one totem. And you're going to give me this Protem, and then you're going to make me guess. And oh, by the way, I just might lose it all because I don't understand.
How much time you're going to spend on Diablo 4 with no hope of earning anything monetary about it?
At least I'll have fun. You know how much fun is worth to me? Way more than hundreds of dollars of lost time and sleep and nonsense.
All right, you're not having fun with it. Got it.
All right.
Some people are having fun with it. So for the average gamer or the average player, it can be frustrating.
They did not give us a Pioneer badge. Yeah, I paid 500 Protem for my Pioneer. Actually, I paid 800 Protem for my Pioneer badge.
It's a nice badge.
I saw you going to the button. Don't.
I got to move it over. The arm reach gives it away. I got to move it over for the shows, so it's right in front.
All right, I will. And for the record, if the entire community besides me was in chat going, we love totems, we love spreadsheets and not knowing how much to feed our things, and this is so much fun, and oh my God, this is the best thing ever, I would be like, oh, I guess I'm the outlier. However, that hasn't happened. So every single person there's like, well, he's saying what we're thinking. So I'm just putting it on a platform to say, yep, this is what the community is thinking. And if they're not, they have an outlet here. They can say, hey, we don't agree with TML. We think he's being a whiny little bee. But guess what? They're not. They're like, actually, he's right. This is nonsense. So
they didn't say they 100% agree with you, but they did say you're right on a lot of stuff.
Thank you. Preach.
Stop encouraging him. Stop encouraging him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway.
Now, when cycle 2 comes out, hopefully they've made some tweaks, and not tweaks where you just have to re-guess all over again.
They're just going to roll some dice.
But you like dice games.
TML has properties worth more than my real car. That's true. I do like dice.
So maybe they can get you to roll the dice for the randomization for cycle 2.
Anyway.
Now, the community will be able to get parameters for this color and this style of totem and be able to give you guidance. So maybe we can help you out for cycle 2 since you don't want to do the work. We understand.
Well, I can tell you one thing: by the time Cycle 2 rolls around, every single totem on the planet is going to be figured out. Because if you look at all of the information that's out there in the community right now, it is absolutely insane what these people are coming up with. And I I mean, I spent a lot of time on my spreadsheet, to make it look the way that I needed it to look and whatever. Mine is not even close to what some of these people have come up with as far as tracking these things. So I can tell you, by the time Cycle 2 rolls around, we're going to have more information on how to take care of a totem than any one person should have.
Yeah.
Just
And
saying.
here's the thing. If they had done, and honestly, again, I was 100% expecting to get all of the information up front. Like, there isn't a game that I play, it'd be like getting a weapon and not knowing its stats, not knowing its elemental, like things, it would be weird. So at no point did I think we'd have to figure it out. I'm okay with that if they had done a test cycle and go, hey guys, for this first cycle, we're going to give you all of this. But at the end, we're going to reset it and we're going to start fresh. So this is a test cycle. Everybody's going to get 555 Protem per. Go figure it out. Go together as a community and try to solve the mystery of the totems. And you're just like, oh, this is fun. Hey, I'll participate because I'm not losing anything. Like, because it's a reset. The reality is that at the end of this entire thing, your Protem turns to STEM, which is valuable currency, which means that wasting it on experimenting is literally losing money. Like, so kudos to the people that love it. And again, if I wasn't losing money doing it, I don't play Upland to lose money. Like, that isn't fun. Like, I trust me, we've all lost enough money in the game, but like, it's stupid to me to play something that I know I'm going to lose money on. I'll just wait and I won't lose money. And then I'll wait for the data sleuths who all spent a lot of their own money. Thank you, but you're wasting money. I don't want to waste my money.
How are you wasting money?
How am I wasting money?
Yeah.
Because if I don't know how much to spend, and again, I spent 300, and I can tell you now that my little dragonfly isn't going to earn that at the end of the month, even if I optimize the entire damn cycle. So you are losing it. People are going to be like, at the end of it, I'll have less Protem than when I started with. If I had just not done anything, I would have more Protem at the end of this cycle than I started with, because I didn't even understand at all. And again, there's some people that probably got lucky and are optimized, or who figured it out very quickly and will be able to get more than what they put in. But for the most part, like, if you don't do it and you miss the cycles and your thing dies because you went on vacation or you had a day off or whatever, and now you're suboptimal, like, there's a good chance that you lose Protem during this. That's losing money. Protem is money. Like, so yeah.
But along with that too, I think it's just like everything else in this space, where you have to be willing to take a risk to see the rewards. So, I'm a little bit of that.
What the risk was that I took, Mass? I paid $60 for a single totem.
Yep.
Hoping that it had some value. You know what the risk I took was? Hoping that the Protem that it gave me will eventually have value down the line. I'm years invested in this already. Like, and now you're like, well, now you got to gamble it and maybe you won't get anything. And then at the end of it, you're just going to have a dead ass dragonfly. Like, no, not fun. Nope.
I certainly feel your struggles. That's for sure. I feel you.
Yeah.
All right. Mass, Shaq, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun, always.
All right.
And thank you for bringing your positivity, Shaq. I hope your marriage lasts longer than my totems did.
It will. We're good.
Have a good night, guys.
We'll talk soon. All right. You feeling better now that you're released?
I mean, yes. Yep.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about you.
I
get it though.
And the thing is, like, I've been so excited for Totem. Like, that's the other thing is, like, this isn't, no offense, this isn't a like NFLPA disappointing me because, you know, whatever. I don't really care about NFLPA. It can continue to be disappointing, and I'll be like, meh, yeah, cool replicas, and it's terrible, whatever. Like, but I've been so excited for this. Like, this was me. I was getting ready to come back in to Upland in a big way. I was like, yes, I'm going to come back in. And now I'm like, nah, nope, nah, don't want to do it. This is dumb. I'm mad.
You're mad.
I'm mad.
We got it.
And I'm mad for the community, by the way. I'm not just, because the thing is, like, luckily for me, I only bought 5. But there's people that have dozens.
Yes.
And there are people that have put in hundreds and hundreds of dollars for these totems. Like,
I mean, it's day 2 into it. It's day 2 into the first month of 5 months. And everybody's burning the world down.
One chance at a first impression. You get one chance at a first impression. And your first impression is, good luck. We're giving you no information. Y2K has 100 totems. Good luck.
Wow. All right. Anyway, don't forget, stop by 615 Indiana Street.
But I shove that candy cane up your ass, honest to God.
And pick up some Christmas, or we still have Halloween stuff. And speaking of Halloween,
Scotty Boom has more.
Jesus. Spooky Dookies is now open in Queens and Chicago. So thank you for giving me that wonderful name. ThankMeLater. So I made it into reality.
Oh, nice. Love it. Spooky Dookies. So 55,000 Protem. See, if I was him, I just wouldn't do anything. I would call it a day. Like, you won. In fact, what I would do is I would go sell all of my totems. I would go sell my totems to other people right now. Call it a day. Like, find the ones that have like the best curve or something. I don't know. Like that's anyway. Easier to figure out what my girlfriend wants than these things, right? Facts.
2 locations, 7525 Bell Boulevard in Queens.
It's Spooky Dookies. They might serve cookies, but who knows?
And then the other one's at 950 North Clark Street in Chicago. And I do have applications in Las Vegas and Los Angeles and London. So those should be approved soon and be there. So
expanding. Mr. Worldwide. Let's go.
Samurai Aquatics has an insane amount of shops across the metaverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think close to 20 or above 20.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, expanding so more people have access, because who wants to travel? We pointed it out on the show too. You don't want to travel to a city just to buy something, to travel back to the city that you want to hang out in. So the only way is to expand your business.
Yep.
All right. How did your stream go Saturday night with snail pacing?
Yeah, went good. So we did our official launch of snail pacing. We got another stream coming up this Saturday. Hopefully we'll have the Google form for submissions. The first art submissions will happen at the end of this month. The prompt for January is beginnings. So if you are an artist who's interested, you can go check out the UPX World. It's the Return of UPX World on our YouTube, or join us Saturday at 8 p.m. Central, where we'll be doing another live stream, taking any questions, and hopefully rolling out the Google Doc for submissions for the snail pacings. Always Be Creating is the name of the competition. Lots of cool stuff. Top artists will have their items made into Upland map assets based off of the art. We will also be working to create real life merch, much like the shoes and phone case that I've showed off a couple times. So lots of collaborations on all the layers, including reality. So we're very excited to bring back friendly art competitions. I cannot wait to see what people do. Should be fun. I know I'm working on my piece already as well for the submission. So
Nice. Anything else before we get out of here for the week?
no, I don't think so. I love totems.
Of course you do.
I do love Upland still. For the record, you missed the show. Do it over. I don't have enough blood pressure medication to be able to do another one of these. I will say I do still love Upland. I am still a fan. I still can't wait for other stuff that they do. But honest to God, the totem thing, I wanted to punch myself in the face. Like, it was so infuriating and so not fun that it just hurt. Anyway, still love.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
what
right.
did you miss? You missed an hour of me just straight up raging. It was simple. TML loves totems. Yeah, it felt like each one of you know what they didn't tell you at the sale of the totems? Hey, these totems, good news. They're suppositories.
Geez, stop it with the butt stuff already, will you?
Hey, you didn't say that last weekend.
Jesus. All right. Well, on that note, we definitely got to get out of here. Everybody be safe. Have fun. We'll see you in the metaverse.
The UPX Podcast with the property expert. If it's happening in Upland, it's the place you want to check first. With your host who's stupid to win and thank me later. Bringing the strategy, news, and cool charts with all the data. This is Upland, where the metaverse goes down. Genesis, San Fran, to Rio, and all around. Don't miss a week, you never know what they'll say next. It's the Upland Property Experts, baby, UPX.